Devoted. It's not a word we often use, unless you're tacking adjectives to yet another English essay. But even though we may not use this term in everyday language, we still encounter this word often. According to the Cambridge Dictionary, the meaning of devoted is to be extremely loving and loyal. First used in the 1580s, the word devoted is derived from its Latin origin, devotus. This Latin participle has several meanings, which include dedicate by a vow, sacrifice oneself, or promise solemnly. It sounds pretty serious, but in reality, the word is closer to home than we think. Say that you are part of the school basketball team. As luck would have it, a big inter-school game was coming up, and your team was representing on behalf of the entire school. Knowing this, would you slouch at home all day, giving in to laziness and not bothering to practice? If you had a true passion for the sport, it's unlikely. Rather, you'd train for the game as hard and as often as you could. You'd commit to practicing every day of the week, or even every day of the month. Maybe you'd even sacrifice other things, such as grabbing lunch with friends or going to a party. In other words, you'd be devoting your time, energy, and efforts to basketball. However, devotion doesn't only stop at extracurricular sports. As teenagers in an increasingly busy society, it sometimes gets tricky to pinpoint where exactly we should be devoting our time. Should we devote ourselves to school? Or maybe it's more productive to be chasing achievement instead. On paper, these seem like worthy causes to devote our time and energy for, but in reality, that's not the case. So often, we devote the entirety of our efforts to a certain cause, only for it to end abruptly and suddenly. At the most, we'll be left with a temporary trophy to show our friends and family, but in a few years, its glory would be nothing but a fond memory. Vanity of vanities. Vanity of vanities. All is vanity. What does man gain by all the toil at which he toils under the sun? Just as the preacher lamented in Ecclesiastes, the truth is that our devotion to the things and people of this world is in vain. So, what's the alternative? Devoting ourselves to an eternal pursuit. Just like how we would devote our all to a sport or hobby that we enjoy, the same applies if we truly find delight in God. A life devoted for God is a wholehearted commitment, and just like how we would sacrifice relaxation or comfort for an area we're passionate about, it is a commitment that requires personal sacrifice. As it says in 1 Kings 8, verse 61, "And may your hearts be fully committed to the Lord our God, to live by His decrees and obey His commands, as at this time." A life dedicated to God may seem overwhelming at times, and the truth is, we're always going to fail. It's impossible to do otherwise. But no matter how many times we falter or trip on this path of devotion, we have hope. Unlike the things this world has to offer, our hope is one that is eternal, because our trust relies on God's perfect plan for our lives. "For I know the plans I have for you," declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. So, what is the definition of devoted? In the words of William Borden, one of many missionaries who have given everything, including their very lives for God, no reserves, no retreats, no regrets, because this is what devotion truly means.